Okay, so I'm gonna turn on my camera now and just let you take us on a ride.
Yeah, thanks, Emily. Thanks for the opportunity. Oh. Like, I really, really appreciate it. My voice is gone. I just noticed I had a lot of meetings today. I think almost 10. So I'm just noticing that my voice is scratching me. So just in case I'm talking weird, let me forgive me. But as long as you can hear me, that's fine. So I think I would go with. I think it was very good that people mentioned their expectations. It would be good if more people can kind of like say their expectations. So Emily, you mentioned about being scared. What exactly with technology makes you scared? I'm just curious to know. So I'll start with Emily's own, then Precious, then Sis Shewa. So like maybe we can just make this interactive, right? We're nine on the call, so we have enough time and space to converse. And I have a presentation, but I'll try to make it short. So what
Okay.
exactly with technology makes you scared?
Okay, I think for me, it's it's the fact that like questions did mention all those coding things, just trying to, maybe because of the field that I am in,
Mm.
um, we seem to have been doing more of traditional things in terms of marketing and presentation. But in the last 2, 3, 4 years, our contemporaries outside the country, they've gone far. So things like AI, um, and the likes, they are using those things and then trying to introduce it into our own country. I realize that they don't even know about it. And even me, that I'm supposed to like be representing, I just have like very little idea on
Mm.
how to generate those AI things and how to use them. So it just kind of just puts that little fear in me that I might shall be able to deliver this and all of those. Those are my fears.
Yeah, that makes sense. And it's a valid fear, to be honest, right? When you're not used to something, you're bound to be scared. Okay, if I do it, will it work? Will it fail? So I think that's a natural fear for anything. So what I usually tell people is just think about technology like a tool. Think about it like a blender or like a microwave, right? The first time you use the microwave, you probably didn't know you were not covering the food. Maybe you put foil paper inside it one time, but it's a
Mhm.
tool to help you do something.
Makes
Eventually, the
sense.
more you use it, the more you become better at it, right? So that's the thing with
Mhm.
technology. Because of how often it changes, there's no they're experts, but there's no superstar. Somebody
Mm,
that doesn't know anything yesterday or that didn't know anything yesterday can be the person that is a star tomorrow with technology. It changes so fast, and that's the good thing about it. It allows people like us that we're building from the scratch. It gives us an opportunity to, just learn and be at the top. So there's no rock star. Today, someone's content is popping. Tomorrow is another person's content. It's just really a tool. So basically, just like the analogy of the microwave, right? It's what you put inside the microwave you get out. So, for example, the microwave is just warming your food, right? If you warm pizza, it's different from what you get warm pizza, right? It's different from if you warm beans. So it's the same thing with your creativity. That's your input into technology. Your creativity, you learn how to use the tool itself, and then you add your creativity to it. So that's like your food, right? So with content creation, you want to do a particular thing. You have the tool already, and tool past tools, right? So iPhone is different from Android, right? A certain level of phone's camera is different from a certain level of phone's camera, but the technology itself is a tool. That your creativity is really your input, right? Your content is your input. So nobody's content, like, technology doesn't make people's content better than the other. Your content is either good or not. It's from you, right? So whatever content you put it into the tool. You have a good microwave, it warms your food to a certain extent. It boils your water, it makes it warm or lukewarm depending on the tool you have, right? And also how you use it. But eventually the goal is to make it warm. No matter how expensive someone's microwave is, the food is going to get warm. It now depends on how you use it. So just think about technology in that analogy. If you find yourself getting scared, it's if there's something you've done or something you see that you are unable to do. Just having that growth mindset, you can learn it. It's already online. That's a way to kind of like help you. So that's one part for that fear. And the fact that people around the world, some people have gone far. People will always like that. The thing with technology is that it's always moves. People will always go far. I think once you have the mindset that you can learn anything, it helps you with technology. Okay, there's AI today. What is it about AI? What I've noticed is that some people will say, "Oh, I'm scared of AI." Then ask, "What is AI?" You don't know. What does it do? You don't know. So why are you scared of it? A lot of people, what they hear is hype. But by the time they break
I'm
this thing
telling
down to
you.
you, it's so simple.
Oh, seriously.
It's so simple. It's so like a lot of the things that people don't do, they hear about, or they've done this, is news they've heard. They've not actually tried to put it in practice and to see if it's actually difficult or not. People say coding is hard. And I ask, have you coded before? Like, no, because you saw someone's screen with green and black, then you determine that coding is hard. But the only way you can do it is to try. And most of the time, people try it and they're like, okay, it's actually not that difficult, right? So just to address those two things before we start, I start the slide. Then going to Precious's on how to get into the tech space without having to code. Actually have a whole I like throughout last year, I did like maybe 3 or 4 trainings about this. I should have recorded some of them, but if I do make another one, I would send it to you, or I will let you know if there's another. Because this slide, I took out the career. I put a little bit about career, but not a lot. But I have a whole thing with getting into the tech space without coding, because I'm in the tech space and I don't code, even though I did learn how to code over 10 years ago. I can't believe I left school over 10 years ago, not just 10 years. But I did learn how to code, and I coded for a while, but I don't code at my job. At my job, is really good. So, Precious, to your question, we would address it some other time, but I think you will still gain some things from the presentation. And then to Sis Shewa's question, how tech could help me make my content creation easier. So, like I said, if you still use the analogy of your mindset, you have the tools. Some people have the tools, but they don't know how to use it. So, it's basically you have a tool for content creation, right? And what are your tools? Your social media is a tool. Your phone is a tool. You need to learn how to use your phone, for example. You need to learn how to use Instagram. What's Instagram's rules? Right, to be honest, with social media sometimes, and you can even have a very like crappy content, but because you follow the algorithms rules, your content will actually pop and your content creation will be easier. So basically it's to understand the tools, then bring in your content, right? And understanding the tools like social media is for your content to be seen on Instagram, for example. They have a rule on how many times you need to post. They have a rule on the kind of content you should post. It's just knowing their rules, right? So that is like reading the manual of the tool, and then taking what exactly it is, the kind of content you want to create, add it to the tool because now you know the rules, and then post it. I think that's really the underlying rule you can use to help you make
Yeah,
content
this
creation
babe
earlier
just
and
broke
earlier.
this thing down here one day. Like that was just fantastic. That breaking down of knowing the rules for each platform and then knowing how to not apply them to
Yeah,
your content just helps you. Is
yeah.
it that simple?
It is. It
Is
is.
it?
So yeah, I did this thing. I did. So I'm not very. I don't like Instagram that much, right? Because it's just it's like the way it's built. You need to invest a lot of time. But I did once. I did a course once, and I decided to practicalize. I created a new Instagram account, and in a week, I had gotten over 1,000 followers. And nobody knew I owned the Instagram account. You guys didn't even know about it. It was just to test it. And basically, what were the rules then, right? The rules, there was a certain number of hashtags you needed to post. There were certain hashtags you need to do, like the hashtag research, know the hashtags that are trending for your target audience. So you know your target audience, you know the hashtags trending for your target audience, right? What are the kind of content Instagram likes to see? At that time it was carousels that was reigning, because this was a while ago. Carousels was what Instagram wanted to see. Colorful pictures with people in them. Those are the kind of pictures that they promote, or they used to promote. Now is reels, right? So basically understanding the rules, right? Also with your caption too. What is the length of caption that they want you to do? How many content? Then I think I needed to post 3 times a day, at least on my feed. And then I needed to also post in my stories. But carousels were really raining, and then colorful carousels were raining. In less than I think it was like 3 days, I'd gotten over 1,000 followers. I just abandoned the page because it was I just wanted to practice what I had learned, right? So is it actually a rule? Yes. So there are Instagram rules actually. So there are, because when you think about it, it's an algorithm. There's something behind it, right? It's not somebody that's pushing the content. There's technology pushing the content, and they have programmed some things into the technology to say, okay, if this content is this, push it out. If this content is not this, then don't push it.
Hmm.
Do you understand? So you
Makes
need to know
sense.
exactly
Makes
what those
sense.
things are. I
Mm-hmm.
saw a post recently about Instagram, what their rules now. Like I said, I'm not very interested in it, so I just skipped through it. Right. So now, of course, everybody knows video is king. They are looking for video. If you're not posting video content, That's one thing. Yeah, they're probably not going to push your content out there, right? So that's one. Then, of course, people, you also need to look at psychology of people. People like to see videos. Like, I wrote down three rules of things people, kind of videos people like to watch. People like things that are funny. People like things that they can relate to. Like, oh, so both of us are living the same life. Maybe someone is in the toilet. Like, so you two used to squeeze face in the toilet, just like me. People like content they can relate to. And people like people don't exactly educative content is this or that, right? People like to be educated, but they don't like to feel like they are stupid. So this is my own personal rules, just from noticing what are the things that people like to see, right? So social media generally, yes, there are rules and they're actually not speculations. You need to see, like, for example, if you post a video, the picture at the top of your, like, when you post a video, you can put a cover image. Your cover image matters a lot, right? Because that's the first thing that people see, or that's what will kind of like make people attracted to your video, right? So your content, also the music in your video, very important, because some people pay for their music to be promoted with social media, right? When you use those kind of music, right? Or some people's kind of like, some music have blown, let's say on TikTok. Instagram is competing with TikTok. So those kind of music, sometimes they fall into Instagram. So when you use those music, people discover your music more. So some artists that they just, maybe they brought out the song last week, they're pushing their songs. Instagram is saying that this song, people are using it. You also, you put your content, put that song on your content, then you'll see that you get more people looking at your content. So like I said, the type of videos that people want to see, people like Nigerians now, they like videos that will make them laugh with election season. So if you put a bit of humor in your video, that also works. I'm always big on content quality. People don't like to see videos that are grainy, for example. Yeah, I think I've just gone on and on, but this is not I didn't fully prepare this talk for that. But yeah, there are rules for every social media platform. So you need to then determine which is your own social media platform and which will you follow. So for me, I'm like, the work for Instagram is too much. Like, I don't, my return on investment, if I decide to invest my time in Instagram to build my brand, for example, I don't think it's worth it. So I don't use, even though I have business pages on Instagram, I don't post on there, at least for now. I use other ways. I use my email list, for example, is really good. My blog, which I don't even post on, I get a lot of views on my blog every day, and I use that. So is, the platform that works for you. LinkedIn works for me. Know the platform that works for you, and then use it. Okay, I think I've answered the questions in the chat. So I will go into my slide and we'll just go through. Please put I'll be reading the chats. Like I said, there are not a lot of us, so let's make it as interactive as possible. So I'm not talking at you, but talking to you.
We get.
Where's my slide? Is this? I'm not very used to Zoom for some reason. Can you see my screen? Can everybody
Yes.
see my screen? Okay.
But that's sure. I just want to present like this.
Yeah, I'll just present it like this. It's fine.
Okay. Sure.
It's fine. Yeah, I'm testing something. Okay, so basically our topic today is using technology to birth your dreams. I repurposed a few slides from a couple of talks. So if you've been to one of these talks, don't be surprised if you see a slide that looks familiar. So get to know me. So basically, Mama has done my bio, so I don't need to talk about it. Yeah, so I just put this quote here. I found this online. This is not originally mine. This says the future of work is becoming increasingly digital. And then when I mean work, business, education, work, whatever you're doing is very digital. You can't say because you don't know something you won't use it, right? It's impossible to ignore technology. It's just wise, right? Even just as a Christian person, just generally, this is where the world is going to. It's wise to know the trends and know how you can take advantage of it. I feel for me, what I believe is not wise is doing everything and doing what doesn't suit you. But it's wise to say, okay, with this technology, what's my pie? So for me, I've said that, I've thought about it and I said, okay, my pie is creating things with technology, right? So I might not be out there, I might not be creating content maybe yet, but this is where I have chosen to take advantage of. And there's so many things you can choose to do, like so many there's a huge pie, and then we should take advantage of it, whether it's in business, whether it's in career, right, whether it's in ministry. there's a pie with technology. There are people using technology for very big things, and we need to take advantage of our own pie and take ownership of it. And we need to take advantage. Another thing we need to take advantage of with technology, even if you're not taking advantage of the pie, is to help it make your life better, if that makes sense, right? So make you do things faster, help you plan. And I just put a few tips of how you can use technology to help you generally. I didn't take a survey, so I wasn't sure if people were business, career. So I just put things that are general to everybody in here, and you can use digital assets to help you utilize your goals. So let me know in the chats, right? What are your goals? I need to find the chat. What are your goals, right? What are your dreams and goals for 2023? Um let me know the let me get a feeling. I just put some ideas here. Some people want to launch a podcast. I'm launching a podcast. Some people want to get a promotion. Some people want to write a book. What are your goals, just generally, with or without technology? Film festival, yes. Mr. Tim Tucker wants to write a book. Okay, nice. Who else? No other goals. Building an app or more. Yes, yes. That's another goal. I'm waiting. I finish our website. This website. Become a business analyst. Yeah, that's a great goal. Who else wants to chat or wants to put something? Okay. I would just take it that these are some of the goals we can work with, and these are all amazing goals. So this is a very Precious wants to be a product designer. Blessing wants to start a YouTube channel. Nice. Well done, ladies. Teach moms basic tech. Yes. Um, Start a YouTube channel. Almost so many content creators in the house. Okay. So this slide here is just it's a framework. I initially expanded on this, but I didn't want to go too deep into it. A framework for achieving your goals, just generally. With any goal you have, the first thing you need to do is to strategize, right? So, what exactly do you want to do? So, setting smart goals, right? You want to strategize. Okay, so what does strategize mean? Who's creating this? Who are you creating it for? Right? Make it smart? Is it measurable? Is it achievable? Time bound? You want to really understand what it is that you're doing. That's the strategy part. The second part here is the learn, right? So you want to learn the skills. So because the assumption is that the goal you're doing, you're pushing yourself, you're growing into something. So you might had a YouTube channel before, but maybe it's about something else. Now you want to talk about something else. You might have done something similar previously, or might not never have done. You might never have become a business analyst before. You're growing. So the thing is that you then need to learn the things you need to do to meet your goals. Then you need to implement your goals. Then you need to evaluate. So this is kind of like a framework. Like I said, I was going to go into it very deeply, but I picked general tools, right? So now what does now that we have this framework, what does this do for you? This is how does this connect to technology? Technology is a tool, like I mentioned. Like at the beginning, I gave the analogy of a microwave. Just think about it that way. People look at technology as this big thing or as a means to an end, or like you hear people say, "Oh, I'm applying technology." Technology is not tangible. Technology is not like, I don't know, even though there's a tech industry, technology is not like oil and gas, like oil that you can see, right? It's a tool to help you do something. So when sometimes I see people that say, "Oh, they just want to take advantage of technology," and I'm like, what what are you using technology for? Like, tech is content in, content out, right? So if you put garbage in, it's garbage out. So for example, you want to build a business. What's that business you want to build, right? Then you layer technology on it to accelerate. So technology is a tool, it's an accelerator. It's not really the main thing you want. You can't just do technology. Like, that does not even mean anything. And I think sometimes when we see big words, I do encourage us, we need to question the things people say, or things people say. One of my um one thing I always say is that you need to explain it to me like I'm five, right? And it doesn't mean you're stupid. What exactly is it are you doing, right? And then how do you want to bring technology into it? If you're not doing anything, you're bringing technology into nothing. You can't create anything that way. You need to either have an idea, right? You need to have something that you're doing already, and then technology accelerates it. So basically, if you go back to this thing, you need to have your strategy already. and then bring in technology for that. You need to know what you want to learn. There's so many courses online. If you just say you want to learn, you will be wasting your time. Then you need to actually implement. You need to do the work, and then you use technology to help you do the work. Like Emily wants to do like the film festival. There's still offline work that needs to be done. Because there's technology doesn't mean that you won't do anything. You still need to do the work. Technology now helps you maybe get more people to the festival, maybe broadcast the festival to more people, maybe amplify the awareness of the festival. But there's still something that you're doing. Okay, so now who's ready to find out more? Let me see if anybody raises up their hands in the chat. I think
Let's go.
yes. So what's the first step? What's the first thing you want to do if you want to use technology to achieve your goals? The first thing is you need to be mindful and intentional, right? So what does this mean? I put the definition of being mindful and intentional. I think now we live in a world where everybody's all over the place and everybody's just doing what it is that is selling, right? Which is why I asked, what are your goals? You need to be very intentional that this is exactly what I want to do. This is exactly what I want to use technology for, right? You need to make intentional choices. One of the biggest mistakes, which is my first point, that people make with technology is doing everything. Oh, Instagram is popping, jump. LinkedIn is popping, jump there. This is what everybody's doing. You jump there. If you're not intentional about it, you're just going to be part of the crowd, right? How can you be intentional? So I put these tips here as just very practical things you can do just generally, right? Set a focus. Now I want to focus on my music, on my YouTube channel. You need to focus on that thing because there's so much distractions out there, right? One thing that I find that a lot of people don't let notifications set your goals for you. You could actually go 3 months and you find that you've not achieved your goals because the notifications on your phones are the ones telling you what to do by 2 p.m., 3 p.m., 4 p.m., 6 p.m., right? Before you know it, you slept. The next day, notification for Instagram comes up, notification for your Gmail comes up. Don't let notifications set your goals for you. Set your goals and focus on them. So that's one of the big, that's if you don't take anything, just take this from here. You need to be very intentional with how you use technology, with one, your goals, and then two, how you use technology to meet your goals. That's one. Now, the second thing is automation. So, what's automation? Automation is just making the process operate without human intervention. So, let's say you have been, yeah, what's okay. So, let's say every day you always you put in snacks into your children's lunchbox, right? Every day you put in snacks, every day you put in snacks. Automation is now making technology because you know that every single day this is something you do. Automation can now be making technology do that task for you. Okay, let me give you an example now, right? So like I bought smart bulbs, right, for my house here, and then every single when I wake up or when I want to go to bed, I will always turn off my lights, else I cannot sleep. So what's automation for me? Automation is me now setting it up that okay, you know what, one day you need to go to bed by 10 p.m. By 10 p.m. every day, your light should go off. I have now automated that process. That way, I don't have to stand up and turn off the lights, which is something I would do anyways. Also, now I've automated that process. So that's literally what automation is. Something you do repeatedly, you then make technology do it for you. And then what are ways you can automate? Um, I put social media using IFTTT and Zapier, but thinking about the people on the call now, ways you can automate social media, you can write it down. There are two tools you can use. There's one called Buffer and there's one called Planoly, right? So what that just does for you is it plans your content. So you know that every week you need to put in content. So you put in that content in there, you set the time, and then it automates posting of your content for you. So that's it. So you can use meeting scheduling, for example. Calendly is a way to schedule meetings, right? Instead of two people finding times in your calendar to work, you can use Calendly and then you will put your times, you send a link to the person sees when you're available and picks a date out of those. You've literally just automated that whole task of, oh, when do I need to find a time in my calendar? Right? Because you can use Hotjar. Hotjar is usually for big organizations, they're alternatives, but you can automate getting customer feedback. You know that after every sale, you need to get feedback, right? Why don't you automate that process? As soon as the sale goes out, the next minute the customer gets an email asking them for their feedback. That's literally automation, right? Yeah, and then even there's the tool that was used to register for the Kingdom Film Festival does that. If you registered after a certain amount of hours, because they know that you set it that your event will take 1 hour, they send you an email feedback. right? Email marketing, you can automate emails. The first time someone signs up to your email, they get something. Exactly. So basically, one way is to automate, right? You can use sales funnels using Katra. You can use, so like I said, you don't have to use all the tools. You just need to identify what it is. Remember, we set our goals, and then we're now intentional about them. You just need to now know this is what I'm doing, and then this is the next thing for me. So that's the next. So I'll go to the next slide. Are you not moving now?
Sorry, Yewande, I've been putting up my hand.
Oh, I didn't see that. I'm so sorry. Yeah, please go on, Emily.
Okay, so for the sake of this class, you know how we do it. You know how we do it. I would need for us to be very practical. So I would be suggesting like all the things you've mentioned under automation. So at the end of this class, we're going to set a goal, an assignment that everybody should go put to practice these things you have mentioned, because that's the only way we're going to be able to measure how effective this webinar is. So what you could also just add for us is at the end of this, we're going to have an assignment and a timeline in which we're going to now review it. Hope that is possible.
Yes, that's possible.
Fantastic. Thanks.
All right. Okay. So I've spoken a lot. Async communication. This works for some people. This doesn't work for everybody. So what does async communication do? Is basically trying to document your work. It's a collaborate. It's a way of collaborating with people. I should call it async collaboration, right? It's a way of collaborating with people in a way that you don't fragment your work. You do everything you need to do, and then you send the next work to the next person. Like the definition is there. It's basically documenting everything that you do, right? So that the next person, you guys don't have it back and forth, which is something that wastes people's time. So this is mostly for people that work and people that work remotely, or you have staff that are in different parts of the world. Working async is very good. So if, for example, instead of doing WhatsApp messages, why don't you put all the document your information in a Google Doc, and then let the person continue editing it, whether you're there or not, right? Instead of sending documents from yourself, have a link. Everybody just pour your ideas in there. Oh yeah, you edit the document. You design the document, right? So yeah, basically, it's just trying to find a way where you can work independently, right? Instead of waiting for somebody before you get something done. So that's async communication. The next slide here is using data. So basically, there's this thing called the Pareto principle, right? Which means that 80% of your outcomes come from just 20% of the input. So basically, if you own a shop, right, 80% of your sales will probably come from just 20% of the stock that you have, or the items that you have in your stock. It's also called the 80-20 rule. And a lot of the time, people don't recognize this because we don't look at data. So now I think a practical thing we can start to do is, if you have a business, I want you to now start looking at the data, and it could be in different ways, right? I need you to start tracking the way you track maybe your finances. Start to track your work, for example. What's the thing you do the most, right? So maybe the assignment, I'm just thinking about how we can word it. And I think the thing with technology, like I said, it doesn't have to be complex. It just needs to work for you. So you can use an Excel, right? Pick an area of your life, for example. Maybe it can be your finances, it can be what you do at work, it can be what you sell, right? Write down the things you do, and then write down the results they give you. So for example, let's say you sell 5 different things, right? So let me use Precious as an example. You sell makeup products, you do makeup for clients. Write down all these services that you employ, and then every day track it. Which one do you do the most, right? At the end of the month, see the particular one that actually brings in the most profits for you, or the one that takes all your time but doesn't bring in the most profits. When you actually track these things, you find out that it's not everything that you're doing that is important, right? Well, some things are necessary, but sometimes we just do some things because we think they're important. We're not tracking it. So I guess the thing from here, what I think the assignment we can do from here is we need to pick one thing in our lives that we need to track. Let's track it for a whole month and see if this thing is actually giving us the feedback, the outputs that we want, or the profits that we want. So well, maybe calling is not a good example. I can't think of like good examples now. I thought about it beforehand, but it could be like you're spending. What's the thing you're spending on? At the end of the month, look at what's the thing that gave you the most happiness. You've been shopping, you're always shopping every month. What's the thing that actually gave you the most profits? right? You have three different goals, or you have three different assignments, or you're building. Oh, you have a goal to start a YouTube channel. You are working on it. What's that particular thing that you're doing that actually helps you start your YouTube channel? Talking to people, are you talking too much to other people, right, about it, and you're not actually starting? I guess my point is that you should start to track what you do. So that's one point. Learning and development. I think everybody knows about learning and development. One course of notes, because remember we spoke about having different parts. One was the strategy, then the learning, implementation, and then metrics that's tracking it. So I think we spoke about data. I should have put data later. Data is like tracking it, right? You have all these goals, you've done all these things. Now start to track it. But now the learning, everyone is very familiar with it. One thing that makes people not reach their goals a lot is demotivation and disconnection from your mission or your goal. And it's also not being educated enough about your goal. Let's identify one course. It doesn't even have to be a course, it can be a YouTube video. What's one thing that can teach you how to do this thing that you want to do better? You want to start a YouTube channel. What's that one video you need to watch that will teach you how to start this YouTube channel, right? You want to be a data analyst. It doesn't have to be a full course or something that'll take you a year to do. Just pick one thing that will help you achieve this, and commit to doing it. Like, that's it. I put in this personal brand very last minute because I know one thing with our goal is that we want to communicate our personal brand to people. I did take a program with personal brand for workers in church once. I couldn't find the slide, so that's a bigger topic by itself. But basically, your personal brand is just basic is allowing people know what it is that you do. Now you said you want to have you have a YouTube channel. Now you want people to know you as a YouTuber. How are you going to do this? Right? So it's by communicating it to people, right? And what are ways you can communicate to people? You can write, you can do podcasts, you can do meetings like calls like this, right, with different people. You can create profiles on LinkedIn. I'm just going to summarize because I feel like this is something that a lot of people have an idea on. And if we want to go into personal branding, that's a bigger topic by itself. But basically, communicating your personal brand using social, not just social. So also, I think another thing people confuse, which is I see myself doing it now, is confusing social media with technology. Social media is just a part of technology, right? There are other things and other ways you can communicate your personal brand and do things that are not connected to social media. Having a to-do app, for example, is not social media, right? But that's technology. So some of these tools, social media tools or not, you can use them to start to build your personal brand, just generally. The next point here is managing your time, energy, and priorities. So this is very connected to mindfulness, right? But this is kind of like the tools that kind of help you. So basically, using planners, right? There's a planner called Any.do. That's what I use. It's not really the best, but I use that and it works for me. It's basically taking out things from your head and pouring it down. I use my notes app. It's free on most phones. Just pour out what's in your head so you don't forget. Something I really do is, and it has been very helpful for me, is when I'm thinking about something and I can't articulate it, I just open my voice memo app and then I talk into it. And then later on, maybe I listen to it and then write it down. But at least it's there. And it's something I don't know why people don't do it. It really helps. Time tracking also helps you focus. Like I said, it's connected to being mindful. There's this thing called the Pomodoro timer. It's your regular stopwatch, but basically there's a rule or there's this research that's been done that most people, their focus, you can only focus for a maximum of 45 minutes at a time, right? So what the Pomodoro timer has done is that they've set it that you focus for 45 minutes and you rest for between 10 to 15 minutes because sometimes people take breaks in between. So focus for 45 minutes and take 10 minutes break in between. That way, like there's some research that backs it that this has helped people achieve their goals. So you can also try it. Some Pomodoro method, it can also be 25 minutes. So there's 25 minutes and there's 45 minutes, depending on your focus level. You can have the Pomodoro app. You can just use the Pomodoro, you can just Google Pomodoro timer on Google and to just bring out 25 minutes timer for you. Very simple. Also using Google Calendar to schedule your things, right? Stop writing things down so you don't forget things. Use your scheduling tools for this. And then, like I said, notes app for note taking. Another thing, don't let your notifications determine your to-do list. Plan your day beforehand and then execute what you have planned. And then to this topic, which is the most popular, is using artificial intelligence. I know this conversation, I was having a conversation with Emily on AI, and I think that's what breathed this call. No, that's what breathed this call. um, basically, what's AI, right? AI is basically, or artificial, so the Yoruba doesn't jump out. Artificial intelligence.
Sorry. You know what I mean? Confession. Do you know I took that conversation to another technology person, and it was just a back and forth on this AI thing. And then you know that time you will share that AI stuff on the group.
Yeah.
Before we knew what was happening, 3 weeks or so later, that thing broke down. And then by the next time they were coming up, it was not monetized.
Mm-hmm.
And even right now, you see that they're not different. In fact, the different tools of AI that have come out this in the past 3 weeks is just mind blowing. So I don't know which angle you're going to be treating tonight's topic on in this AI.
Yeah. No, Emily, you're right. So yesterday they just released a newer version of it, like a big announcement
See what I'm saying?
of
Is it with
it.
bigger money?
Mhm. See, it's amazing. I think for me, I focus on application of things, right? So like they've brought out this AI. What does it mean for me? What's kind of like my pie in it? There's some people that their job is to build it. Some people their job is to add the data to it. You yourself, based on what you have, what can you what can you contribute to it and what can it do for you? I guess that's how I look at it. So for me, it's really the application of AI, and which is some of the examples I've put in here. Right. So like layman's term, artificial intelligence is machines copying humans, and this is different from automation, right? Like I said I'll be dedicating a masterclass about AI applications in life and business soon. Hopefully, I get to it. Um, I put an analogy here that I think is very interesting, right? Automation is making your. Let's take Twitter as an example. If you're on Twitter, automation is basically when you make your computer tweet on your behalf every day. So you know that, like I said, I turn off my lights every 10 p.m., right? My lights goes off 10 p.m. I've put that in, I've automated that in. Now, artificial intelligence takes automation to another level. It's making your computer write the tweet like it was you. So artificial intelligence is basically they take in all how you have been tweeting. They know that, oh, you only like to tweet about technology, about politics, about travel, right? And then because of all that data sets that the computer already has, that you fed it, right? It's now able to replicate a tweet that is like yours. So it doesn't have to tweet by 11 p.m. on a Saturday. That's automation, right? Making something do happen recurrently. Artificial intelligence is making the computer, because it has gotten data about a particular thing, and then it's trying to recreate it based on like certain commands that you give it. So that's a way to kind of like think about AI. It's just making it complete. It's not magic. You've given it the data already. And then it's now you're not saying that, okay, I tweet about politics, right? Tell me what's happening in Nigeria. You've been tweeting about what's happening in Nigeria for 20 years or for 10 years. It then looks at that and say, oh, what's happening in Nigeria? And says, oh, Obasanjo was president. This person did this. This person won the election. That's literally what AI does. So it's not like it's bringing out the thing from one magical place. It's just using data that you're giving it to kind of like give you the results you want. So what's a very popular AI tool? So we have the Chat GPT that almost broke the internet, which kind of like you can give it a prompt and it gives you an answer, and it does way more than that. We have Notion. Notion now has like an AI functionality that helps you write. We have this thing called the script, and I use the script to kind of like edit my podcast. We have Canva. Canva has an AI functionality as part of it now. We have AI arts to help you create images and ways you can apply artificial intelligence very practically. You can open up new businesses with artificial intelligence. What kind of businesses can you do? You can start copywriting for clients, for example, because AI has gotten so much information from the internet that it knows the kind of copy that a particular niche wants. So basically, I want to write copy about rulers, right? People have been writing copy and content about rulers in the past years. It has this information, and then based on that, all of that inputs, it helps you create something similar. So basically, you can do that. Some people have used AI tools already to write books. I saw a children book that somebody actually used it to write, and that's a business stream for them. Some people use it to create printable art that can then be resold. So that's another way that they generate income. You can also use AI in your current businesses. So for example, if you hire people, right? Someone like Sishawa now that is a business owner, if you hire people and you've had like 30 people respond, right? There are AI tools right now that can help you. You can say, you can input all of these resumes you've gotten, and you can tell the AI to show me only the people that have skill 5 years in social media management, and it can help you filter for that, right? You can create chatbots to communicate with customers. So you know that there's some questions your customers will always ask you. So you know, like there's some people on Instagram that always ask, "What's the price? What's the this?" So there's some questions that you can already automate into like a chatbot, so that you don't have to be there all the time for your customers. So for business owners, and then for academia and for jobs, right? You can create strategy documents with AI tools at the moment. If you have a document and you want to get a summary, especially people that are doing research work, there are AI tools that can also help you. People that code, for example, or people that want to learn how to code, there are AI tools that can help to edit code and can explain code. So yeah, I don't know if this helps anyone. So basically, current business, this is something that people creating content can also use, right? Also opening up new businesses. You need inspiration for your caption, your Instagram caption, very practical way. You put in, oh, I'm posting a reel about traveling in Greece or traveling to Lagos, Nigeria. I advise to make it more specific. Please generate an Instagram caption that is 200 words long. I can post and the appropriate hashtag, and ChatGPT, the free version, can actually bring that up for you. That's just a very practical example. So yeah, these are some of the ways you can apply AI. I'll pause here if there are any questions so far, because I think we've come towards the end. Social media, yeah. Mrs. Timtoko is saying yes, social media presence is different from online presence. Scholarship to the masterclass. I'll think about it. Yeah, so your online presence and social media presence, completely different things.
There's a question there, Yewande, from Shewa.
Oh, I can't see it. How do I?
Yes, so guys, we can begin to put in our questions before Yewande wraps up, because she says, Shewa says, let me go on. She says, what's the difference between Chat GPT and Alexa or Google Assistant? Now, what's the difference?
So ChatGPT is an AI tool, right? Alexa, it's a voice assistant. Google Assistant is a voice assistant. So basically, what they do is, let me try to explain the technology behind Alexa and Google Assistant. So Alexa is owned by Amazon. Google Assistant is owned by Google, right? Now these companies have like databases. They're like, these are big companies, but funny, you don't even need to be big companies to have a voice assistant. Basically, what they do is that when you speak to them, they kind of like convert your words into text, just simplifying it. They convert your words. So you say, oh, Alexa, what is today's date? You said it. Alexa understands what you have said, converts what you have said into text, and does like a search for you, right? And then tells you back, because you know when you do a Google search, you see what's today's date. Google will bring back today is 16th of March 2023. Google will tell you that. Then Alexa reads that out to you. So that's just a very crude way to explain the technology behind voice technology. But Alexa, Google Assistant, they're basically the same thing, owned by different companies, and they are voice assistants. So they are not AI tools. You can integrate AI into them eventually, right? Right, but that's not what's happening now. They're just helping you do searches, and they've maybe advanced a little bit more to kind of like say, okay, if you have automated tools in the house, right, you can connect them to Google Assistant or Alexa, and then they help you they help you automate those things. So yeah, you can use your voice assistant to automate things for you, or to kind of like, yeah, to access automated things, but they are completely different. So voice assistants and AI tools, very different things. I don't know if that answers your question. And ChatGPT is an AI tool. It's just an AI interface. The back end is what is important. The part that is not seen is what is important. So ChatGPT is just a website that allows you communicate with artificial intelligence that you cannot see, which is literally databases. So yeah, that's, and eventually someone can add a voice component to ChatGPT, so you can talk to it and then to respond to you, and it's giving you voice assistance in that way. I think that's all the questions so far.
Fantastic. Guys, let's appreciate, let's written down my questions, and I'm hoping if you have your own question, can we go to the comment section and just appreciate you one day for this very practical and very straight to the point illustration. Like, it's just she has just made it feel like, look, this thing is simple. There's nothing.
There's
There is
nothing
nothing.
there. Oh. There's nothing, to be
There is
honest.
nothing. No, like really, like there's really nothing to it, or sincerely. And no, just speaking about this thing of when you were saying pick your social media tool that you're going to concentrate on. And I think it's very, very practical, and I think everybody should even put that. Because I will tell you, I'm sure you've noticed that recently I've been on LinkedIn. Like, I can't tell you the things it has generated. Even before I came on this call, someone reached out and the person said, "Oh, we see you've been talking about your film festival and everything." And then the person offered me, this is like a top. And the person said, "Look, if you're looking for someone that will be part of your master class or the different master class," so we're talking about cinematography and those that, look, I am going to be available. Simply because I'm not letting them breathe on that space.
Yeah.
I'm letting them know this is what I do. And you identify the different social media platforms. Not every one of them will work for us. But if you know what you're trying to achieve per time, per season, then you should just know the tool to use, for you. Really, really, really thank you. But like I did say, it'll be great for us to put to practice. Let's mess up our hands by getting practical with this. So I want to go to the comment section and see, guys, you can even unmute, use the icon if you have a question, you want to say something, you have a contribution to make, you have something to add to all Yewande has said, please indicate. We still have some good minutes to go, so let the questions come in. That would really be amazing. So I see we all have celebrated her, but please, I want questions. So guys, please, let's keep it coming.
Okay, while we wait for the questions, there are some things that we can already do. So we can make it very practical. Of which I even have an announcement. Before I go there, let's I think this data is very practical and it's something everybody can do. So let's try to track what we do. I don't know I know we did it before. I don't know if it worked, right? When we used Excel for people tracking their goals. But I think for this one, it's not to track your goals. It's really to track what you do per day, or it can just be a certain thing. Maybe your fitness, how many times you work out and the results you get at the end of the day, or what you eat. Let us track something. I'll put that as one of the homeworks we can do. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe we can communicate what we're learning. I don't know if that's a good assignment.
I think a lot of questions we've been saying. I think recently I've been posting job opportunities and everything. These questions really just pop out anytime. Before I say that question, I see Tope has her hands up. She says, "How do I use tech to get more people to fill a survey link?" I know, right? I know, right? How do we use technology to I can understand what she's saying. After you've done your program or you want feedbacks and all of those, how do you get people how do you use technology to get people to fill in those survey links? That's the question from Tokwe Aderibi. So do you want to answer that now?
Okay, I can try to answer it. So I think it depends on what you're trying to achieve with the survey links. There are actually tools that can so I remember trying to because this is a question that people do have even at work. There are actually tools that can connect you with audiences, like global audiences. So for example, you want to test an app. There are actual tools that some of them are paid for actually. There are tools that can actually connect you with people. They have maybe a lot of followers on Twitter, right? There are tools that can connect you with kind of like people that can fill a form or that you can do interviews with if you want a very wide range of audience. So yeah, one, I would
Are
say you
you
should,
serious?
yeah,
Nice.
because we try to do that for work to kind of like get like a sample size group, and then we actually wanted to talk to them, right? So the survey was one-on-one communication, and we actually used the tool to help us get people. So they'll post in things on Twitter, for example, and they already have audiences that want to test. Also, one of the ways, so for me now, for example, with Google, I'm signed up to one of their programs where if they do want to research something with a Black woman, then they can reach out to me, right? So it's already starting to find people beforehand, right, that can fill your survey. So like, even though I've only filled one survey in the past, but I'm already in their database. So I think the next thing is really to build your own database before you need the survey filled, right? So that's another thing. How else can you help? I can't think of any now. So I think the two things is you looking for tech tools that can help you do it. I don't know the name of the tool off the top of my head. If I do, I'll let you know, Mrs. Temi Tokwe. And then also building your audiences ahead of time so that by the time you want the survey to be filled, then you can fill it, they can fill it in for you. Yeah, I think the thing with, except you want bots to fill your surveys, this is something that you need actual people to do, right? So it's really going to places where people have actual people. So
Would that not
collaborating
be
with
dangerous?
influencers. What?
Would that not be risky, allowing bots to be the ones to fill the survey?
Yeah, so I'm saying
Would you
that
get
you shouldn't
authentic results?
you shouldn't have bots filling your survey, except that's what you want.
Mm.
But if you actually want actual people, you can't escape the part of communicating with people. So basically, you just need tools that will connect you, and those tools could be people, right? So you know somebody that has people in their database or on their list or in their network, you connect to people like that, or tools that already have people, you can use them. Then you don't also have to use surveys, don't have to be traditional. There's a whole thing, there's a whole
Mm.
psychology or UX behind surveys. You can use
I
Twitter
like
polls for
that.
your surveys. It's not in a form, right? And sometimes you just need somebody to retweet it and it goes viral, right? That's
So
one.
that's like an influencer doing that influencing for you, and that's the part of your survey being
Yeah.
carried out.
It
So
doesn't
not
even
the
have to
traditional of
be,
filling in paper.
yeah,
So that's what
I'm
don't
gonna
really
say it
like
doesn't
to
even have
do.
to be an influencer, right? So like there's sometimes that your content is just, it's it's
So
it catches on a conversation and then people just
yeah,
start to respond to it. So I don't know if
very
that makes
true,
sense.
very true,
Yeah.
very true.
So I think it's finding unconventional ways to fill your surveys, if I get what you mean. So where you can ask questions, you can reach out to people one on one, you can use social media tools, and then you don't make it look like a survey because another thing, people are jaded with surveys. People don't like to fill surveys. Even us ourselves don't like to fill in forms. So you can make it a conversation, right? Some people they post a video, they ask a question, and then they get feedback from the question. So it's find unconventional ways to kind of like recreate your survey so that people can answer it. I think it's more something that has to do with human psychology and not really the technology itself for filling surveys. If that answers your question.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I know, I know.
Okay.
So you and me, is there any other question, or I can just go ahead and ask my own
Yeah, you can ask your
um
own question.
yeah. So now if people come to events and what's like the easiest tool you can use to just get your feedback ASAP without waiting for them to get back home? Do you understand? You want that instant feedback, like this is it, without waiting for them to get back home.
Okay, there's
Can
a
be used to achieve that.
Okay, so something you can do is to make it easy for people to fill in the survey. That's one of the ways for people to that gets people to fill in surveys immediately. So what you can do, you create the link to your survey, right? And then you Google so and I think another thing, just piggybacking on your question, Emily, sometimes we underestimate the power of Google, right? If you don't know the name of a tool, you can literally write it, or tools to help me automate my Instagram, and you get a list of tools. So you, because I don't know the tool off the top of my head, so you can just Google convert my my link to a QR code, and a QR code generator will come up. A lot of them are free,
Okay.
right? So what you can do is you can print a QR code since it's a physical event. So I don't recommend QR codes for online events because people are most likely using their phones for online events. But physical events, get a QR code version of your link. Why is that simple? Because people don't need to do anything, or they don't need to do much to
Yeah.
access your survey. With a regular survey, they need to type in the URL, or with a QR code, they just scan it with their camera and the link comes up. And then you can post the QR codes in different parts of the hall. So, and tell people,
Whoa.
just scan the QR code, and then they fill the survey.
Okay, that makes sense. Even on t-shirts.
Exactly.
Okay.
So just make the
Yeah,
QR code
because I
very
see that a lot
obvious.
in events these days. You just have it on their t-shirt. You just scan through and you'll gain.
Yes.
That's really great. And then recently, just asking another question. Maybe you could just touch base on it. So you hear things like Google Analytics and the likes. You've done your social media campaign, and they're telling you to analyze it, use your Google Analytics and all of those. Do you want to just touch briefly on those aspects?
Yes. So Google Analytics is one of the tools. I also put it here in the slide that you can use data. So what exactly is Google Analytics, right? So there's analytics and there is Google Analytics. So analytics generally is just another way to say analyze data. You've done a campaign, right? It means you probably have information about the campaign. Who did the campaign, or the tool has information about the campaign, right? So most tools already have analytics involved in them. Now, Google Analytics is another type of analytics tool. Google Analytics is just like Facebook Analytics. They're just different companies that do different things. So analytics is basically tracking everything that happens, right? And then producing the results. That's literally another layman's term to explain it. So when you do a campaign, right, depending on the platform you've done your campaign, should always get analytics, except it's like billboards and all those ones above the line that you don't have
Very true.
information.
Social media,
But social
Instagram and
media,
Facebook.
exactly. Social media tools, they always do have analytics. Twitter has,
Yeah,
Instagram has. So what you just need to find
Facebook,
is what
even YouTube.
analytics tool is it? And which is one of the reasons why you need to strategize. Because if you don't track all these things before you start, you won't have it already at the end. Or you won't even know where to find it if it's there. So yeah, so one, when you do a campaign, you should always look at the analytics phase. Like if you already have a creator account or business account, you already have access to your analytics on Instagram and Facebook. Else you can just go to like there's a Facebook analytics tool that you can also use to get in the information. Who's writing on my screen? Um, then Google Analytics is actually used for websites, right? Mostly website. There's an app version called Firebase, but that's not quite important. It's mostly used for websites. So when you have a website, you want to know the same way you know the number of people that engage with your post. You also want to know the number of people that engage with your website. So if they've visited your website, that clicked on the button. I know websites can be very complex and very big. So you have plenty buttons on one page. You have contact us page, this one's page. So adding Google Analytics to your website, it just allows you, it gives everything that happens on your website, it takes everything and puts it on a dashboard that looks like this, right? And shows you, oh, your website traffic, 50% of your website's people, 50% of people that came to your website come from Nigeria. So maybe there's something that's
Okay.
attracting
This
them.
number clicked on your product profile and all those kind. Okay.
Exactly. So Google Analytics is just like Facebook, Instagram Analytics, but it's used for certain things. So used for websites, used for like online stores, right? So you can see because it's very detailed. It's very big. Like Google is a big company; they can afford to do a lot of things with it. It's very big, so it tracks a lot of things, and you can customize it. You can say with Google Analytics, you can see how people are scrolling on your page, which part of your page scrolls up and down. You can see which buttons are clicked, how many times they click it, and you can even attach like a monetary value to it. So it gets complex and more complex as you use it.
Okay, let's just make it very practical here and there. So
Yeah.
let me bring it down to my own field right now. Guys, please, if you have questions or this is opportunity, ask those questions. So let me make it very practical. So we've run a campaign. So a title is coming out. So you run the pre-campaign, and then you're going to do the post. And then, so once you're done, when the campaign is done running, then you see the number of impressions. You see the number of impressions, you see the duration, and then you see the amount that was spent. So now, if they now say, okay, come and do your Google, is it Google Analytics on it? Is it something out of the box, or is it's just that you're collating everything and you're presenting it in a document, or is there a special way that needs to be presented?
No, there's no special way it needs to be presented, except there's maybe the organization has their own standards. And Google Analytics is not the only tool you can use. Some people find it too complex to use Google Analytics, right? So there are tools called Hotjar, there are tools called Optimizely you can already use, but you need to know them from the beginning. So basically, when you do a campaign, so for example, like you, Emily, now you want to do Kingdom Film Festival, you've been promoting it, you've posted on Instagram, you've posted on LinkedIn. Now you want a brand to come and sponsor you. So what you're going to do is then most analytics tools have an export button. Create a document, right? You can just put title, Instagram. You export maybe your impressions, your views, all of the things that you have been doing in a particular period of time. There are ways you can sort it. Maybe you want to sort it to show the highest day, or you want to take out the days where it was not so good, right? Or you want to sort it according to years, to months, depending on what you want to show. You need to know these things from the beginning. So what data analysts do, they have what you call a measurement plan. So they've planned it that before my campaign even started, these are the things I'm looking for. Impressions.
Okay.
Exactly. So to help you do those things, you need to create a measurement plan. At the end of the campaign, you now look at your measurement plan. Impressions, this is what I said I will track impressions. This is my impressions. Put it on that document. I have a website. How many people visited my website? You go to your website backend or Google Analytics. You export based on your measurement plan. Put it in that document. You go to Twitter. 20,000 people saw my tweet on Twitter. You export the analytics, then you post it on there. And that's literally an analytics report.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much. So is there any other question? If not, I will just still ask her. So for YouTubers, right now, I see that on YouTube right now, beyond the traditional like YouTube channel, there's now the creators channels. So on which of the platforms are you want to run a campaign? So is it that if you're posting on your regular YouTube channel, where would you run that campaign? Will it be on the creators channel or your normal? I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Because right now I have my YouTube channel, but I've been given license to have a creators channel. So if you're going to run your campaign, is it on both platforms, or is just one platform you need to run that campaign on your YouTube channel?
Okay. So because I actually just started I've never used YouTube before until recently, which is something I was going to announce with my podcast until recently. So your YouTube account, like everybody has the standard YouTube account. Then you can create a channel in that YouTube account. That channel allows you comment and to view videos and to post your videos. When you start posting videos on YouTube, you are a creator. Now, they have different types of creators. So because anybody can post random videos, right? They've now divided people that take it seriously. They've now, I don't know what they call them. I don't know if they call them creators. Monetization, exactly. They've monetized them, right? So there's certain requirements to be monetized. You need to have, I think, 4,000 views and 1,000 subscribers.
And a certain number of watch.
Exactly. So when you do have that, then whether you have 1 view, 1 million view, you're a creator as long as you have posted a video, right? So monetization is now when they see that, this person is serious about YouTube. They probably want to take it as a career and they want to make money from it. So meet these requirements. We'll send you a verification code to make sure that you're human or something, and then they monetize you, and then you start to make money from YouTube as if it's an income, right? Because it's a source of income for people. So for that part of creators, everybody is a creator as long as you post a video on YouTube. But then getting to monetization is now where you want to get to. And there are strategies for that, actually. So now there are short videos.
Short videos,
yes. Yeah. So what those short videos do is they help to attract content to your main videos. I don't know if the views for short counts for your watch time, because shorts are like really short. But they help to attract people. So you see some shorts, they get 1,000 views. I posted a short which day and I got almost 2,000 views. And it was just like 5 pictures of a trip I went for. I got 2,000 views and I got subscribers, like 2 or 3. It's for an empty YouTube channel. So
It takes
shorts
a
and
lot of work,
everything.
though.
Sorry?
It takes a lot of work. I say it takes a lot of work,
Yeah.
actually,
Which
to
is why
build
you need
it.
to focus on it. So if you want to focus on YouTube, you need to know YouTube rules and then use their rules or play with their rules.
Okay, fantastic. I think I see Tokwe's hand up. Tokwe, you can unmute. Tokwe, are you there?
Okay. Yes, I'm here. So
Okay.
I have 2 questions. So the first one is back to data. I know that people already have data for some of that one is looking for. So for example, with mothers, basic data. How do we access data? For example, you also have data about your audience. You want to know how many young moms are interested in learning about technology. Like examples don't come to my head right now, but where does one go to find data for research?
Okay. Do you want to ask the 2 questions or one by one? I'll just take the first question you asked. So where do you find the data? There are different sources of data. So okay, since we're on this
You
data part. Sorry, did you say something?
Yes, I was going to the second question.
Okay,
So
I'm
is
listening.
there up where one can find these rules, or do we to like learn from master classes like this, or is there somewhere where you can just go and find them?
Is there where you can find what? I didn't hear that part of the question.
Rules, knowing the algorithms. For example, you just talked about YouTube now.
Yeah.
You talked about Instagram at the beginning. So, for example, LinkedIn. I know you've done a class on LinkedIn before. So, how did you gather this knowledge, or how can one? So, for example, for someone else, maybe TikTok. So, how do you suggest?
Okay. So let me start with the first question. Where do you get data, especially when you have specific data, right? So there are different sources. So one misconception about data is that it tells you everything. Data doesn't tell you anything. Data shows you what's happening. And then which is why we have what we call in the tech space, or like in my field where we build products, we have data, we work with data, and we have a field called UX, right? Which is user experience and research, right? So data shows you, data does not tell you anything. Your data can show you that this person is short, but then somebody can tell you, short in Nigeria is not short in Germany, or this guy is tall. Do you understand? So that's where user research and experience comes in. But data is just showing you what has happened. So basically, if you want data to kind of like show you, like you want data to show you what it is that you want, right? But data can't tell you what to do. So data can tell you that, oh, this teenage girl is, let's say, she's pregnant, right? Data can show you, but like you can take what you want to see from the data. So I just thought to just point that out there. So what are the popular data sources? I think this is very subjective. You will need to do like research in that particular field for yeah, sources of data. So there's a field of like data science and data analysis, which is data collection. So there's some people that it's actually their job to collect data, and this is mostly for like big organizations, NGOs, and the rest. Some people it's their job to collect data. Now you need to find the places where they store or where they report this data. So they are kind of like public databases. So I usually have a problem remembering names and terms of things, but my point is that there are public databases and places where they called like I don't remember the name, but there are some public data sources where you can find specific data, but not all data is there because not all data has been collected. So one thing I recommend for that specific examples, you want to find data about mothers, you need to look for someone that works with mothers and collects data about mothers to get that information. Because usually data collection is a very big field and it's very expensive. So the people that own this data, they protect it. So you need to pay for it, or they're usually government. So you need to kind of like, yeah, data warehouse. Thank you. You need to kind of like get this information. So you need to know the where the source of your data is, and it's usually it usually gets kept by people, right, that have collected the data because they spent so much time and information gathering this data. But one thing you can do is for you to start gathering this data. When you start gathering data, it's what you call like dirty data. It's not organized at all, right? But then when you start to have audiences, you ask them questions. Okay, this person, she's a married, you've collected information about 10 married women, you've stored it in your Excel sheet or your database. Then you do another survey for these 10 of them. From that survey, you start to clean up your data. Say, okay, you know that they're all married women, but this is a teenage mother, this is an older mother, this is a younger mother. So just to simplify, my point is you can get data from like public data warehouses, you can get it from private data warehouses, you can get from people that already work in the field and have been collecting the data. That's three. And then number four, you can already start to collect your data and clean it up so that you have the information that you have. And I recommend that you get your data and clean it up, because then you can customize it the way you want it to be. I hope that answered your question and didn't complicate it.
Yes.
Thanks. Doctor, are you good?
Your second question, sorry, I've now forgotten it.
Doctor, what was the second question?
Oh, okay. So I was asking, I think it's similar. So I was just saying that the rules of the game, for example, rules for YouTube, rules for Instagram, is
Yeah.
there a specific data where they are sitting, or we have to learn them?
So yes and no. So usually these companies, they would publish. So for example, Instagram, actually, if you go to like Instagram website, they do have like guides for using Instagram. And these are created by Instagram, but they don't go into details. So basically, you probably need to follow account dedicated to creators. They post this information, right? So based on so and so information, this is what has worked for me for Instagram. Same thing with TikTok. TikTok has a guide. So when you go on TikTok, there's a section on there that says how to use TikTok, and then they have guides on like, okay, this is what you should do, these are the apps you should use. It's actually in there. They have a whole tutorial. YouTube has an academy, creator academy, where you can find information like this. So you can either go to the companies directly. A lot of them have all these user guides where you can get this information, or you follow creators on that account that give tips to other creators. They usually post it. I think I remember the account of someone that posted about hashtags that I saw a few days ago. I can share that with you because she also said she just found the information randomly and she posted it on her Instagram. So I can share that with you. But those are the two places to get the rules for each of these platforms. It's a bit difficult, to be honest, but you want to be a creator. So I'll put that
Creator, which
on
is the
there.
oil money right now.
Yes, so Mama,
Okay,
I said Mama, Emily.
Is there any other question?
I hope not. I'm tired of talking.
Before we call it a day, I want to share a scripture with us, because I'm sure a lot of us would be saying, this information is, I don't know if sometimes you feel overwhelmed with so much information out there, but then it's even scriptural, because the Bible says that in the latter days, the knowledge of God will fill the earth as the water covers the sea. So if we're feeling this way, imagine 5-10 years from now, if Jesus Christ doesn't come, it's really going to be very mind-blowing, the information that will be flying out there. But there is a scripture, and that is in Genesis. I see that the question has dropped again. But let me just read that scripture to us, because it's very key that even in the midst of all the information out there, we should be aware that God has a template for every one of us. And once we gain access to those templates, it will even help us to know the strategy. If you notice, everyone they just kept mentioning strategy, and everything. There is a strategy, and once you know that strategy, it will tell you even which of the platforms to use part time. There are some platforms that will tell you, okay, this is where you need to be, because this is where you get the information needed. And so this is the story of, what's his name? Jacob, how he was being maltreated by Laban. And then God gave him a strategy. That technology is what even in agriculture they are still using today. In agriculture, they are still using that technology. God gave him technology on how to combat and gain wealth, And so I really want to encourage us, even as all the technology and everything is coming out, it is good that we are aware of these technologies. But please, let's not lose sight of the fact that God can also give you the strategy on how to use this technology, on what platform you should be per time, per season. So if you do have the time, maybe in your spare time, you could go study again Genesis 30 and just read the strategy that God gave to Jacob. And as you're reading it, just take time to just pray to God. Give me the strategy to use in terms of technology, where I need to be this season, what platforms do I need to concentrate on, where will generate more profit, where will generate the things that will boost my business, because there is the physical side, which is what we're doing right now. There's also the spiritual side to all of this. The Lord will help every one of us in Jesus' name. Amen. And so we'll take the last question, which is from Blessing. She says, how do we combine food industry and tech? I really haven't understood this. I know people do food blogging and the likes. Is that all tech can do for food? Blessing, before you one day would ask you that question, you see this question you just asked, I want to encourage you to take it back to God in the place of prayer. I want to encourage you. It might just reveal to you another dimension beyond food blogging.
Yeah.
Do you understand? She's going to say the physical part, but I want to encourage you to take this question, go back to God. I'm sure it will show you what to do. Okay, Yewande, over to you.
Yeah, that's a good question, right? And I think you can apply it to any industry, right? When I first saw the first question, I was going to ask you more. So what I understand is combining technology and food. Someone that I know has done this thing really well is called Zilicious, and she's a very popular food YouTuber. And then she has now created multiple streams of income from food, right? So yeah, from food and technology. So I think one of the things on her website, if you go to her website, there are multiple links that you can find on there. Like I did enter one rabbit hole and I stumbled on our website. You'll find more information there, which is the research. And just as MLA said, these things, there are a lot of the time the inspiration comes from God. Like I said, technology is just a tool. There's everything you need to do, it on top. You do it on top of it. There's something else I was going to mention that I forgot. There's also like a template that I did learn. So I don't know it off the top of my head. I learned it from DDK. So basically, she had like in one of the courses that we did, right? She has, and I think you're also in Immerse, so you probably will have access to it. I don't know where I randomly saw it. So there are industries, and then there are what's the word? There are things you can, so for example, you can be in the tech industry and you can be a coach, you can be a writer, you can be a YouTuber. There are some templates you can already use that regardless of whatever industry you're in, there are additional things you can do with it as long as you're thinking about how can I maximize the industry. So for any industry, you can sit down and think about it. Oh, I'm in the baby industry, I'm in motherhood industry, I'm in the tech industry. So like for me now, I'm service pillars. Yes. There are service pillars that you can apply to any industry. That resource is perfect for you. But to your question, right, food blogging is not the only thing that you can do with, especially with technology. So for example, if you have you can create content, right, and then sell the content as ebooks, right? You can also create templates for other people in your food industry to create content. So another thing you can do is don't think about what you can do, or one way to generate ideas. What can you do for other people in that have the same problem you have, right? So people,
that's it.
yeah. So if you think about it that way, people that have the same problem that you have, how can you solve their problem for them? So people want to do other things in the food industry. They want to write, they want to create, even that food blog itself, they don't know how to do it. How can you help them do that one thing that you even know how to do? So that's another way to create, for other things you can do. Exactly. Mr. Timitolwes, I should share that template. That template would basically answer your question, and you can use for any industry you choose to go into. So I hope that
With a
helps.
very rich template, you can use that. And I noticed that best, just even to add that right now, what I'm seeing a lot of food people are doing, I don't know if it's something God is releasing to them, they are all opening up academy. Like they are all opening up academy. I'm like, okay, you see that this tap is running. Most of the food bloggers that I know, this 2023, they all switched. Maybe they had a meeting last year, I don't know. They are all now doing like food academy, they're not trying to teach and train people, So Kaka, yes, Kaka. There's somebody else I know, Dupe, she was introduced their own food academy, it's a Goshen, So
Yeah.
just find the one that you want to say one day, you want to say something.
Yeah, so I just remembered something. And I think sometimes we look down on certain industries because I work in the food industry, right? And that's something people don't know. My company is literally like selling food, and I do logistics for food. So even doing something like logistics is already part of the food industry. But I was looking at it once. Of course, this is being recorded, so I can't share my company numbers. I saw I saw like an average report just internally, not even a report. This I saw myself, like I was kind of like generating the report. And when I saw how much we were just making from being an enabler of the food industry, Mama is in billions of euros, and we're not the only ones. I can't share the number. Like it is big, like it is very big. That's my point, right? So anything can be amplified. You just need to find the right way to do it.
Anything can be amplified. You just need to find the right way to do it. And it's on that note we want to say a very
One more thing.
big,
I
big
was
thank you.
one
Here
more
one
thing.
day.
One more
Thank
thing
you
before we
so
go.
You said what?
I wanted to announce my podcasts before leaving.
Okay,
Yes.
please do.
I need everybody. I've only told Mrs. David, but now I'm opening it. I'll go to post about it. I'm like, let me wait till after this webinar. So I added the slide here, which is an important announcement. All of you that are here, if you like this, go and check out. I have a website, or we have a website. Should talk like a business. I'm launching my podcast very soon, so you guys should all go. I have a goal. I need to get 1,000 subscribers to this.
So you're joining the podcast gang.
Yes. Yes, we have things to say, and we're gonna say it.
All right.
You guys go to this
Fantastic.
link, sign up for the newsletter. I need to get 1,000 subscribers, and join, share. That's my goal, and then we'll take it from there.
Welcome to the podcast gang. Welcome to the podcast gang. Okay, fantastic. Congratulations, you one day on the Entrepreneurship podcast. Well done. Well done. Okay, people. That's how we're going to be cutting ribbons this year. Like, we're going to be cutting ribbons